When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world. SeptumSin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching SeptumSin versus the world. I'm SeptumSin. I'm, of course, dressed up because today is Halloween. Yes, the day of frights. And for me, I decided what a better way to celebrate than taking the night of horror and dedicating it to a horror collection. You see, I have become quite obsessed with the Amityville franchise, and I have a number of movies related to that particular genre. And of course, over the years, it's gotten to the point where if I see something with Amityville in the name and I don't have it, I just get it. I've watched every single one of these films, and some are good, some are bad, some are in between. So I thought I would give you, my wonderful subscribers, and those of you who aren't subscribed, though I would encourage you to do so, as this is a wonderful channel filled with wonderful dedication to the art of collecting physical media. So let me bring y'all closer here, where I can tell you about the Amityville series. There are 4 categories of Amityville cinema, and I will explain them as I have divided all of my collection into those 4 categories. The first is the simple, the documentary. Well, the documentary, there are lots of them. Many of them are extras on your discs, but there is one in particular that is... There's one in particular in my collection that is not, and that I will be going over. The next category is the direct category. The direct category takes place in the Amityville house. It is a direct attack in the house. This is where the core films are. This is where films that take place within that setting are. This is core Amityville. This is Amityville direct. Then there's the indirect. The indirect films cover areas of the franchise that are linked to the Amityville, be it haunted lumber or some other thing, like an item of sorts, like a clock or a dollhouse. Foreshadowing. The last is the and that's pretty much where they just threw the name Amityville up in front of something, and it has no bearing or relation to the Amityville franchise whatsoever. Thankfully, I only have 2 of those films. So let's get started. We're going to start with documentaries. It's the one I have the least about, and it's really not so much of a documentary as it was probably an extra disc on one of the Amityville sets, but I saw it, I thought I would like it. This is the Amityville Confidential, and it has 3 episodes, all of them debuting on the History Channel, and they go over the Amityville haunting, the potential hoax, and of course the filming of the remake in 2008. Now, this thing was done in around 2005, and it was trying to get itself, Amityville Horror 2005, not 2008. But this was done in 2005. It was a good setup for the new movie, and it is a fun watch. I like documentaries. There are a ton of them on the extras of a lot of these discs, and you should check them out. This collection, we'll also talk about just summaries, what's on each disc, and how it goes. From here on out, we're going into the direct. We're going to go from oldest to newest. So you might see one of these as a double take. So here we go. The first is my double feature, which has the original that started it all, the 1979 classic Amityville Horror, or The Amityville Horror. I mean, I think that this really is part of the attachment to the series, is the first film debuted on my birthday. Well, not my birthday, but my birth year. And to me, that gives us a connection. Maybe I'm connected to the Amityville spirits. Ooh. So the first one is basically about the people who moved into the Amityville house right after the whole murders had taken place. And the family starts to witness strange happenings. And this was based off of the original books, where the people who went into the house claimed to have seen all the horrification, I guess, that took place. We'll be revisiting the remake a little bit later. But the special features, as far as the original Amityville, include audio commentary by Dr. Hans Holzer, who is a PhD in parapsychology. The For God's Sake Get Out documentary, which is excellent. Oh wait, I don't need to be using that anymore. That is for A-OK, not anything else. Radio spots, and the original thematic trailer. Yep. Alright, so next, we actually continue in our Amityville series, which has the MGM DVD of The Amityville Possession, which is our second film, taking place in 1982. And over here, before the residents of 1112 Ocean Avenue became infamous, its supernatural legacy of terror had already begun. Inspired by the true story, the prequel is blood-curdling, special effects-laden, encourage all-powerful, all-consuming evil. So, of course, this goes back into the original murders. This was a very well-done movie. Many look at this as one of the better ones in the series. I like the original the best, but this one does have its points. I haven't watched it in many years. I need to rewatch it again. Maybe in the Halloween season, I will work on getting there. But this one, I'll admit, is not very special feature oriented. I mean, it has subtitles. So, not a lot going here for this one. Alright. So, we move forward to 1983, where we get Amityville 3D, also an MGM featureless DVD. But this one continues our story, where you've got some debunkers going into the house, and they buy it and they go to try and prove it wrong, and of course then they're proven to be wrong themselves in the most horrific way. I don't have a lot of memory of this film. For those of you who did like this one the best, I'd like to know why. I mean, there's a lot of these with horror debunkers, though this one taking place when it does, it's pretty early on in that series. So I would suggest anybody take a look at this. I think that everybody should be getting at least the core 4 films in this series. And you can get them in a box set. So this one here comes from, let's see here, Sterling DVD video, which is the Amityville 4, which is The Evil Escapes. This particular one has to do with the exorcism of the Amityville house, and another family moves in, and again bizarre crap happens in the house. and they're trying to, of course, save their children from the evil entity that is in the house. This one does have a couple of bonus features. There is a biography, some film highlights, and Amityville Horror: The True Story. So again, a little bit better, but this is back in the day when having interactive menus was considered a special feature on DVDs. We have come a long way since that time period. I really like this film. It kind of capped off the series. It might have done well to end there, but unfortunately, it did not. So, let's see here. So the next film on this brings us back to our double feature, which is the Amityville Horror remake in 2005, which was done by Michael Bay, for better or for worse. And it comes to, it brings back again that family of 6 being murdered and the family moving in after that particular thing and dealing with the haunting. I thought they did a good job updating the special effects. Not as many explosions as one would like in a Michael Bay film. You would think they'd at least blow the house up at the end of this one. But still, a fun remake. I don't think it's as good as the original. The pacing is a little bit better, but in truth, you can't beat the original. There are some good special features on here. Some deleted scenes. You have a supernatural homicide feature, the source of evil making of featurette, Ryan Reynolds and producer's commentary, and some photos. I forget Ryan Reynolds was in this. So, Deadpool himself. If you need any more reason to watch the remake. And if you get the double feature, you get both. I'm trying to consolidate films in my collection, and this is a good way to do it. I think there's probably a set like this that has all 4 on them. They don't look the best, but when you got as many DVDs and Blu-rays as I do, unfortunately, that makes a difference. But there you go, the original series. Now we move off the beaten path as we go to 2011 with the Amityville Haunting. This was a found footage film. I've seen this now twice, and I think it's reasonably well done. It has this family moving into the house, and you get to see these tapes of their moving in. You've got a child who is just mysteriously fascinated with filming equipment. Isn't it amazing how children just somehow are fascinated with this film equipment? Or somebody has to be like, yo, I've got to film everything. Oh, we're in one of those films, are we? I don't know what you're talking about. Things just don't turn out well. If you haven't seen this and you like the found footage genre, this is a fun watch. I thought out of a lot of these, this one is one of the stronger entries, and I rewatched it recently. It is fun. I watched it first time through streaming, but I did get a physical copy. I did like it enough to do that, and I just really started getting into the collecting. Special features include a documentary of the Amityville murders and footage compiled for the film. They try and present this as a true story. That kind of makes me mad, but what can you do? Alright, as we move to number 7, which is Amityville No Escape. This film takes place in 2016. These people had come up with this VHS they discovered of this woman who mysteriously disappeared after moving to the Amityville ghost house, and then they set off on a ghost hunting trip to camp in the woods where the property was. Now, this has some found footage quality to it as well. I don't feel like this was done quite as well. It was a little bit disjointed. It was kind of hard to find out what was going on. Scene transitions were a little bit confusing. But overall, it was a decent horror film. It's not something that I would consider bad. It wasn't something I considered great. It was very much in the middle. I kind of like this cover, though. And this was brought to you by Camp Motion Pictures. Yeah. And has some fun actually has some decent commentary and contents. You have the director commentary. You have a Christmas Presents short film, which was decent, and sneak peek at Nothing Good Ever Happens. So if you really like this group, this production group, you should get this. So we move through, and 2016 was a pretty active year for the Amityville franchise, as we had the Amityville Terror. So, the Amityville Terror follows the Jacobson family as they move into an aged house in the town of Amityville. Immediately they witness strange occurrences and begin seeing terrifying images around the house. Local townspeople also have a secret, and soon the Jacobsons are battling with evil spirits in the house and malicious people that want them silenced. This has a commentary. It's brought to you by DVD Uncensored. It was okay. This brings apart this theme that I've seen occasionally where the townspeople are sort of sacrificing others in order to appease the ghosts. And though I thought it was decent, I mean, you can see they did sort of a Shining ripoff there on the cover. Again, nothing worth writing home over, but still enjoyable enough if you were into this sort of thing. I'd say a lot of these mid-tiers are 5s and 6s in my rating scheme. Very few get to the below 5 range. Very few. Well, we move on to the last of our direct films, and the most recent, the Amityville Awakening. Matter of fact, the only one I have on Blu-ray. So this family moves into this house. Again, same house, but for the last time, until the next film comes out. And they move in with this family, and the brother had this terrible accident, and he's in a coma. And they're taking care of him in the house. You know, the daughter is kind of feeling guilt over it, and the family is just up in arms with each other, and the spirits kind of prey on this, as the house seems to have a healing effect on the brother. But when demonic elements surface, you start to wonder, is it worth keeping him alive? So they had a making of featurette on here, so not a lot of featurettes, not a lot of special features, but it has decent acting. Bella Thorne does a decent job in this particular film, and it does have a slightly haunting atmosphere. It's worth a viewing. It's a little bit better than the typical mid-tier films, and it can be at times fun. But one of my least liked elements is pacing problems, because that leads to boredom of yours truly, and I'll admit I was slightly bored when watching this. Any of you see the recent film? Let me know in the comments how you liked it. Alright. Now we're getting into the indirect films. Some of my favorite Amityville films are in this particular one. We've got some cursed objects, some cursed lumber, all sorts of fun things in this particular genre. But we start in 1992. A full 3 years after the last of the main 4 movies, with Amityville, It's About Time. I really liked this film. It is about this family. This guy finds this old clock that he decides he's just going to bring home with him and put up in their house, and really strange things start happening. I love this film. It's a Lionsgate feature. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of special features. I'd like to see more about this. I want to see this and the other 3 in this next, and the other 2 that I have in this relationship, re-released. It is a shame that this is out of print like it is. I really find it fun. It kind of has a weird poltergeist feel to it, sort of the later poltergeist movies, and maybe a little bit of house mixed in. I just really love the essential strangeness of it. And it's not strange in a bad way, and we're going to get to strange in a bad way a little bit later down the pike. But this was fun. As you can see, I got it for $2.99, which now you can't find it for under $50. So, but if you find this gem, and Cool Duder himself has gotten a hold of a copy, and I'm sure he'd pick up one if he saw it for this as well. But this here, you get it. It's well worth it. Even if you're reselling it, I mean, if I found another one, I'd probably get it, put it up for less, maybe like 20 bucks or something like that. Give it a fair shot for people to get, because it's worth having. Alright, next up, Amityville: The New Generation. This time, it's not a haunted clock, it's a haunted mirror. A lot of the crap from the house brings in stuff. And I really like enchanted objects when it comes to things. It just is fun. This comes from 1993, so on the heels of It's About Time. And again, haunted mirror, strange stuff happens. It's almost like a ghost dimension is added to this. Lionsgate again released this with no special features. It really is sad. Again, we need special features. This one is also sadly out of print. Come on, Lionsgate, get back with it. Give me a Blu-ray set with the 3 of these on here. You'll know the 3rd one when I show you. Anybody who's into DVD collecting videos should know this 3rd one, and that is Amityville Dollhouse. Also, Lionsgate. Again, strange object brought in. This time it's a dollhouse that is the same as the Amityville house. And very crazy things start happening. I've really enjoyed this genre of films, which is strange because of the reaction I get when I get to Exorcism, which was coming down later in the line. But in reality, I really wish that I could have seen more with relation to this. I'm hoping that they're doing a re-release. If any of you've heard about re-releases, give me a heads up. I would love to know. I'd like to get a hold of some better transfers. But if you haven't seen these 3, find a copy, check it out. Don't pay the scalpers' prices if you can help it. So, now we move to the other 3. These are later films. Matter of fact, we skipped from 96, which was Amityville Dollhouse, all the way to 2013. So almost 10 years later, we get Amityville Asylum. This one, they tore down the Amityville house and built a mental health asylum on top of it. Seems like a smart thing to do, in my opinion. Hey, why not put it on top of an Indian burial ground while you're at it? You know, take some Indians, relocate to graves to the Amityville site, bury them there, and then build this on top of it. So, this is again Supernatural Investigators. I enjoyed the film. I like films that have the sort of mental health angle. I'm fascinated by old school mental health. I mean, that's been my profession. I know a lot about this sort of thing. And this particular... it's just the brutality of it all. If you want horror stories, go back into our history's mental health care. Shoot, go back into any mental health care prior to the modern age, which I mean probably the late 80s on. This does kind of have a fun vibe to it. Again, if you haven't seen it, check it out. One I thought was older, but I was wrong about that. Produced in 2015, we have the Amityville Theater. I love this cover. Don't you guys like this cover? I mean, look, it's like shiny. I also think it's really cool where you've got the cool looking theater and you got this nice description on the back. This is also known as the Amityville Playhouse if you can't find it under this. So, this particular, a woman inherits the theater from her parents, wonders why it's been closed, so she's going to check it out. She and her friends go in there, they discover somebody, a squatter, over there, and strange things start happening after this point. People start coming back and doing odd things. Ghostly noises, strange occurrences, and murder. This one's worth a watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wouldn't consider it my best of, but well worth the price I paid for this. I think it's still in print. Let's see here. Who did this particular? For something. There's no special features. What is it with you guys and no special features? Give us special features. But all in all, it is a fun film. I know you're getting tired, so I'm going to give you one that's going to make you very tired. One of the first ones that I actually considered a slightly bad film, and that is Amityville Vanishing Point. The people here, well, they thought to be... They wanted to be Twin Peaks. They weren't. You could tell the influence. The music, the way that they have the interactions, the general chaos just going around. It's about this boarding house, which may or may not be the Amityville house, but there is a relation, some sort of connection. This is probably the least connected of all the films that I have. I almost put it in the other pile, but it does have a slight connection to it. So the strange detective moves in, and then weird things start happening, and there's zombies, and I don't know. Maybe I have to see it again. It's by a studio called Magnificent Studios. I'm always for B films, but I don't know. Just not for me, I guess. But I'll try it again in the future. I like strange stuff. Maybe it's just I haven't gotten to the feel of it. Maybe I didn't absorb it enough. I wasn't a huge fan of Twin Peaks either. I thought it was okay, but I did not have the love of it that others have. I get confused by certain types of plot lines when they twist and turn, and that twisted in angles that humans should never twist in. Alright. Now one of the more entertaining entries, and the last of my indirect ones, because we went to 2016 again for Vanishing Point. There are a lot of 2016 Amityville releases. And now to 2017, the most recent of this particular genre. We have 3 from 2017, matter of fact. and that is the Amityville Exorcism. I did a review for this. I have a hard time taking this seriously. I love this film. I mean, it's got some creepiness on the back. It's got some cool special features like the commentary, some bloopers, image gallery, so it's a little bit above Amityville Theater in that matter. Did Vanishing Point didn't have anything. This is about haunted lumber. We talked about taking objects over, and I guess in all fairness, haunted object, weird things happening, this kind of goes with the other three that are my favorites. But there's something just absurd about a haunted 2x4. Then you add in some sort of possession stuff, a little bit of zombie stuff. It's everything a B-movie should be. If I was to be able to do this, I mean, this is a Wild Eye release. I like, I think, what was his, I think David Sterling might be related to this somehow. I feel like there's a connection with this, especially with Mark Polonia, because he was involved in some of the Empire of the Apes stuff. But, again, this was so bad it was good. And I apologize to the director of this film if you did not like my commentary on this, but I gave this a 7 because I considered this really fun. And it was hilarious at parts. If you haven't got this, you should check this out. And I'm hoping that you're able to see the horror in this more than I did. But at the same time, if you don't, I hope you can see the humor in it like I did, because you'll get thorough enjoyment out of this film. Alright, now the what the heck pile. There's not many in this pile, but we're going back to 2015 again with the Amityville Death House. This involves odd things like witchcraft and spider women and sacrifices and possession. It's from Retro Media. It has a featurette called Designing Amityville and a first look trailer and a still gallery. This was done by, who did this? Bayview Entertainment. Sterling reputation there. But I actually do like this this cover. It kind of gives you the feel of the old school 70s style films. So sort of slasher films that you would see in the 70s. A lot of the bloodiest films in horror history happened in the 70s, believe it or not. They really experimented with gore, but they were on such poor film quality, many of them could not be saved. Which is a shame, really. There are a couple horror collections that do go over this quite well. But this was not the best done of the bunch, unfortunately. But if you have the time, you can check it out. I wouldn't rate this any lower than a 5. I think I did give it a better rating in my review of it. You can check that out if you want. Maybe I just need to revisit it and see what I liked about the film. It just, to me, I don't remember it that well. Well, now to my least favorite of the entire bunch. A 2017 film called Amityville Prison, aka Against the Night. I know, filmmakers, haunted prison, fear test, yada yada, teenagers, or young adults, whatever they are. I didn't care for the twist at the end. It just wasn't for me. I think I talked a little bit about it when I did a pickups video or on a vlogcast. I can't remember. but the twist at the end just bothers me. I won't ruin it for those of you who might want to see this, but I like haunted house movies. That's why I like this series so much. I mean, I love haunted house movies. I have a ton of haunted house films. And it does sadden me that this got released. This is by Parade Deck Films. Hopefully they do a better job with the next one. That one is one of my few I would probably rate in the 3 to 4 category. Not unwatchable, but certainly not one I want to watch again. Well, that was all of them. In total, I have 19 Amityville films. Are there more out there? I'm sure there are. Would you be willing to let me know in the comments? Maybe you will. And if you do, let me know. I really do want to check it out. So, with that being said, we will see you on the next one. Goodbye.